Yo, how's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto anime. We're covering episode 199 in today's review, and it is the conclusion of the Naruto vs. Delta battle. This episode adapts pretty much all of chapter 33 and the very beginning of chapter 34, and there's also some anime original material in this episode that I actually thought was very interesting, by the way. So, it's something that you definitely want to pay attention to for the future of the series, because, I guess I'll explain it in the review. So, anyways, before I get into that, if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty cool if you did that. Alrighty, let's get into the review. So, Delta is angry. She's absolutely stunned that Kawaki would do such a thing. Jump in front of Naruto and Hinata, and basically sacrifice his arm for the sake of somebody else. And she reminds him that, that body is not yours. You're the vessel. How could you actually do something like this? But if you come back with us, we can probably repair it. So you have no choice. You have to come back with us. And this enrages Naruto. He's already pretty mad that, Delta tried to basically kill his daughter and cost Kawaki his arm. So Naruto's like, remember what I said earlier about not laying a finger on the kids? If you do, you're going to regret it. Well, you're going to regret it now. You're going to wish you were dead because I'm going to make you pay. And guess what? Kara, I'm going to take them all out. You're all finished. I'll defeat every single last one of you. And Delta's over here like, I'd like to see you try. So they end up engaging in some taijutsu. And Boruto notes that, Naruto is actually pretty angry at this point. He's had enough of Delta's BS. And it seems like they're pretty even, but obviously Naruto over here is actually, seems to be still playing with Delta. He doesn't seem to be taking real damage against Delta's blows. But Delta over here is actually hurting from Naruto's. And Naruto starts walking up to Delta. And Delta over here is just waiting for the opportunity to strike Naruto with her one-hit kill laser beam eye. Naruto gets close enough, she fires it, and he immediately responds with a giant Rasengan, which she tries to absorb. So she's trying to absorb this giant Rasengan, she's laughing at him, like, don't you remember, I can absorb any of your ninjutsu, and then repel it back to you, so, you're making a big mistake, buddy. And Kawaki thinks the same, he's wondering why Naruto is doing this, but Boruto actually realizes what Naruto is doing. He's probably doing this to overload Delta, basically cause her to bust. So Naruto keeps his giant Rasengan up, and Delta over here is actually starting to panic at this point because she's absorbing it, but there seems to be no end to his chakra. Is there any limit to this guy? And it causes her basically absorbing all this, it causes her to overload, and her eye completely basically loses all functionality, so she's basically blind in that eye. She actually loses, this basically severs her link with her drone up in the sky. So Delta's in a bit of a predicament now. And Naruto even explains her that, you store like whatever you absorb in your body somewhere, so there must be a limit. So that's what Naruto is basically exploiting here, basically the limit in her body. And he takes that Rasengan, calls it a supermassive Rasengan, and hits Delta with it. She tries to attack him one more time, but it fails, and Naruto defeats Delta. So, with Delta defeated, laying in the bottom of a crater, she's unconscious, seemingly, and Naruto is about ready to take her in for questioning. As he explains here, he actually went through great lengths to keep her alive. So that means that supermassive Rasengan that Naruto used, even with that he was holding back, so he could have actually obliterated her, but he wants Delta alive so he can take her in for questioning. And he's about ready to do that. But as soon as he approaches Delta, he hears something like a bomb about to go off. And he immediately jumps up and grabs the children, and Delta self-destructs. So, she blew herself up. And her drone immediately takes off to go back to the Kara hideout. So as Delta's drone is flying away back to the Kara hideout, Koji over here actually comments on the fight and talks about how Naruto is very powerful and he's incredibly skilled. However, it's not enough. But Boruto Uzumaki, with his karma, he may be the one that holds the key. What exactly is Koji actually referring to? For the anime onlys, during this battle, Naruto actually mentioned, or Delta, I should say, name drops Jigen. And Naruto actually gets enraged and actually tells him that, yeah, I'm going to take down Jigen and everyone in Kara. And here, Koji actually mentions Jigen as well, and says that Naruto, despite his power and despite his full strength, he's not enough to take down Jigen. And that Boruto over here holds the key to defeating Jigen. So, I'm not really sure why the anime decided to not mention this. I don't know if maybe it's not coming up for a while, so they didn't want to spoil it for the anime onlys. Not really sure, but yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about this change. I kind of wish that Koji would have said something, but it would have actually emphasized Jigen's power here. But whatever. Moving on. Now, for the rest of the episode, things change, and we go from manga canon to anime canon, as the rest of the episode is actually stuff that's not in the manga. So, we immediately cut to a random village. We don't exactly know where this village is at, but it's a very poor village. The crops are dead. The people in the village are sick and dying of an unknown disease. They're all wearing masks, and I'm wondering if maybe this is in reference to something that's actually going on in the world right now. If so, then I actually kind of like that rating. I think it's actually pretty interesting that they're doing this. But anyways, these people are sick. They're dying of an unknown disease. And that's when Boro shows up. Yeah, you know Boro from Kara. Yeah, he shows up, and it seems like he's like a leader, or he's like some leader of some religious organization, which we'll touch on probably later on. But anyways, they asked if he's the savior. And he actually shows up, and he's actually curing people's diseases. Yeah, this guy actually is basically tells him to back off, and he immediately cures his disease. So immediately, kind of just his tone immediately changes. So the lady brings out her dying son and wants her son healed and cured of this disease that he's stricken with. So Boro immediately does this and actually heals the child. And this is where things get actually pretty interesting. He actually tells them that, yeah, you guys are in poverty. Nothing's really going to change, and you're eventually going to die. So why don't you join us? Because guess what? There's this thing called the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Yeah, this thing, it happened a little over a decade ago, but it's something that actually will take you away from all this pain and suffering. So if you join us, we can lead you to the Infinite Tsukiyomi. So yeah, Boro, he's giving them some false promises here, because we know exactly what the Infinite Tsukiyomi is capable of. So yeah, I feel bad for these people. So the next scene is actually pretty interesting. So Boro is at his religious organization's main building or location, and I have to say this building looks great in the anime. This was something that was only just recently introduced in the manga. It wasn't present at this point in the story in the manga. This basically whole scene is an anime original, which I actually appreciate the anime for doing, so more on that in a minute. But anyways, Boro is doing some charity work, and that's when Code shows up and requests that he goes back to the Kara hideout because Amado wants to do some maintenance on him, and he's actually pretty angry, so we need to go back really fast. Boro initially refuses, but eventually accepts and heads back to the Kara hideout. But anyways, the episode comes to an end with Amado and Jigen having a conversation here. Amado is still looking for the traitor, quote unquote, and he'll definitely find them. But Amado over here mentions that, yeah, we need to get the vessel back here. There's not much time left. The time limit is coming up pretty soon. What is Amado referring to? Well, we'll learn more about that at a later day. But Jigen over here seems to not be doing so well either. Seems like he doesn't have much time either. He mentioned that earlier when he was trying to transfer the karma onto a child. So what is this time limit that Jigen and Amado are speaking of? Well, we'll learn about that at a later date. Anyways, the episode comes to an end here. Now, overall, I thought this was a great episode. It was a good conclusion to the end of the Naruto vs. Delta battle. But I also appreciate the fact that the anime gave us anime original material with Boro and expanding his character. This whole religious organization that he has and that he is a part of is only something that was recently mentioned in the manga. So I appreciate the anime for going the extra mile and actually showcasing this. I don't know if maybe Kodachi actually mentioned something to the anime staff or something like that, because I know he is supervising the anime. But yeah, I like it. Because Boro was a character in the manga that he didn't get any development really before his big fight in the manga. And I have to say, it was really disappointing when he died, because I'm like, why do I care for this character? What's so special about him? I don't know anything about him. Yeah, just not a big fan of Boro in the manga version. But the anime version is actually doing wonders. Just like with Victor, who basically had nothing in the manga, it seems like the anime is going to be doing some more stuff with Boro in the future. And I'm all for it. I don't know if maybe the manga canon stuff is going to stop for a while or not. That's still up in the air. It seems like we're still getting some manga canon stuff, in the next couple of weeks, with chapter 34 and part of 35 getting adapted. I'm not sure if they're going to go all the way, because if they go all the way, yeah, there's no stopping from here. So I'm hoping the anime maybe takes a step back for a little bit and expands some stuff that the manga left out. Expands Kawaki's training in the upcoming episode. We have other training going on, like Sarada doing the Chidori training, so I'm hoping that the anime spends its time, developing certain things, because this Boro religious stuff is actually pretty interesting. I want to see more of it, and I want to see more stuff from Kara fleshed out, if that's the case. So, yeah, just some thoughts here. Now, when it comes to Naruto versus Delta, I thought this was a fine fight. It definitely isn't bad by any means. I know there's a lot of people that are complaining about it being trash and not being very good. But honestly, it's a good fight. It's just not as good as Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki, Kawaki versus Garo, Team 7 versus Deepa the second time. I'd say this fight's maybe on par with Boruto versus Shijoji in episode 151. It's still a good fight. I will say that the Kawaki versus Garo fight did raise a lot of expectations a little too high, which is what I was worried about when I saw that episode, way back when. So, yeah, I will say when you view that fight, compare Kawaki versus Garo to this fight is definitely disappointing, but overall, I still think it was a good fight. I do wish it was a little bit longer. Last week I talked about how I felt like this fight was going to be expanded upon in episode 199, but ultimately it didn't really get expanded. It basically kind of just ended as fast as it did in the manga. So, I'm fine with it. Naruto took her down, and Naruto, besides the scene where Naruto went to grab Himawari, that's probably the only scene I have a problem with when it comes to this fight. I had a problem with it in the manga too. But the rest of the fight, I don't really think Naruto's doing too poorly. I know a lot of people are complaining about him being nerfed and stuff, but he clearly has to hold back. He can't go all out, because he'll nuke not only his kids, but he could destroy part of the village if he actually went all out. So he was holding back a great deal here, and he was still in the lead. That's what people miss. Kawaki mentions it in the last episode. He was in the lead this entire time. Despite taking some blows from Delta, he seems rather unaffected by it, and he doesn't look like he's taken much damage, whereas Delta over here is struggling immensely. And it shows in this episode that she's taking quite a bit of damage. And Naruto ultimately had the upper hand on her the entire time. So yeah, I'm fine with the results of this fight. Could it have been animated better? Could it have been up to the standards of episode 189? Sure. But overall, I'm satisfied with it. And once again, the only complaint I have for this episode, really, was the beginning of the episode, because it was once again padding, showing pretty much the ending scene from last week's episode again here. And I hate this when anime do this, especially long-running ones. Naruto did this a lot back in the day. My Hero Academia, once again, is doing this literally every single week this season, which is getting on my nerves. And I hate to see it being done here. It kind of shows that, yeah, with the Boruto anime, adapting a lot of the manga in such a short amount of time, it's pretty clear that they're doing this to basically save their budget, save time so that the anime doesn't shoot past the manga, which at this rate, if they keep adapting from the manga, it's definitely going to surpass the manga. So I see this as them kind of just padding it out so that it holds the anime back a bit. And in my opinion, this takes away from the episode, because as a result, there's less content in this episode. It's not like a whole lot of time we lost, but we're still losing time regardless. It could be utilized elsewhere. It could have been utilized for some extra taijutsu scenes, just saying. So, I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little annoyed by that. So I'm hoping, starting with next week's episode, they stop the padding for a little while and give us some nice introduction scenes like they have in the past, leading into the opening. So that's just my 2 cents there. I wish the padding would stop, but who knows? We'll see what happens in the next couple of episodes. So overall, I thought this was a great episode. It's definitely not as good as episodes 189, 175, or 65, but it's still a great episode in my opinion. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this fight? Are you satisfied with Naruto versus Delta? What do you think of Boro and his religious organization? And if you're a manga reader, what do you think of the changes that the anime is doing, compared to the manga? Do you like the changes? Are you okay with them? Do you disagree with them? What are your thoughts? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll talk to you guys later. Probably when the new chapter comes out for Boruto later this week. Anyways, that's all I got, so I'll see you guys later.